God. Oh my God. I cannot believe it. Again, I was muted this time. Wow. Thank you, Key. I just totally went off there for 7 minutes on my talking to myself. I need more coffee. All right. So, let's start this again, friends. So, cheers to Key. A big shout out to him. He is the key to my life, apparently. So, welcome to a midnight list where we are going to be reviewing the midnight list that we started last week. Last week we left it off at a very basic, just displaying tasks that were completed, or tasks that were done, or tasks that we had. We didn't have any way to add new tasks or add this without doing a post. Well, I think I was doing database edits. Um, so in today's video, we're going to look at the AI code that I did for generating CSS and JavaScript because myself, it's been about a decade since I've used JavaScript uh, and CSS in anything professional. So I am extremely rusty and with my JavaScript, and I'm even more rusty with my CSS. So my the CSS does look good. It's been rendered. It looks pretty fire. As for the JavaScript, it's all basically placeholder functionality right now. So there is nothing that is functional. We're going to be writing that functional backend code today in this video. Now that I'm speaking, so let's make sure everybody else has a full cup of coffee, and let's dive on in. So, diving back into here, the HTML on the left is basically what we had before, except up here you'll see we're still doing the for each task in each task. Except now we're also adding in some variables here to check and see if it's completed. In which case we're going to make it we're going to kind of put a strike through. We added a field for input, so this is going to add a little description or an option to add a task at the top of the screen. We stuck in an add task button, so after we ask somebody for their input to add a new task, we put a button in there to submit that. Down here we have our task description. And then we've also added in some actions at the end of it. So we can edit or we can delete the task at hand or the task on the list. And then, of course, down here, we're just, if the task happens to, down here, we're stating also when the task was created. This is just a small little footer div on the bottom of that whole little card view. And if nothing's there, we say there's no tasks. Nothing to do. Now into our JavaScript. AI had generated the JavaScript for us. So this first part is just an event listener where we're adding some events or listening to some events here on the DOM. So we have the new task input for the task input, and then we also have the task button so that if you click the button, it's going to create a new task. And also, that being said, if you happen to just press the enter key, it's also going to add a new task. So you can just type out your description, hit enter, boom, new task is added, or you can type it out and press the big button because everybody likes to push buttons. And of course, down here, we're initializing the task listeners. But the add task button is going to simply validate the input If it's empty, we're going to strip away any sort of white spaces in the text, so somebody just can't enter a blank task. And if the task is not a valid task or empty, then we're just going to simply alert them and tell them that, hey, you need to enter a task before you can do something. And then we're going to make a fetch to an API to do's. So we're going to be making a post to an API to do's endpoint that I do not believe we have at the moment. We pop into our controller. This is the controller that's no, that's the home controller. So we do not have a to do. I'm going to rename this from to do controller to home controller. Oh no, I guess this is to do's. Okay, so I'm gonna add in an a to do API controller, just something to hold itself singleton, and we'll make that into where we're gonna make the post request. We're posting just a simple JSON string, so we'll make a DTO object that's just gonna simply be a description, just so that we can just for mapping purposes. Um, And then down here is our initializing. So this is where we're initializing the toggling of the task completion. This is where we toggle the edit button, and this is where we toggle the delete button, or we click the delete button. Down beneath here, we have our toggling task completion. So this is what is the checkbox. This is when we click the checkbox, we make an API to do toggle post or patch, sorry, a patch request, which is basically just toggling the button on and off. Down lower, we have an edit, an enable edit. So this right here, when you click on the button up top to the edit button, it's now going to come down here and it's going to uh, toggle the button, whether it's on or off, and you can actually press the escape key if you want to cancel, or if you're editing, you can press the enter key to save the task. And again, that's done through just an input handler, adding an event listener for type of key press. And then we just create this little function here that is basically a lambda. And then that's where we're saying, okay, if the event dot key is equal to enter, or if it's equal to enter, we save the task. Else, if it's equal to escape, then we cancel the edit. And we could do whatever else we wanted in there if we wanted to do some more key button management, but that is how you do keys pressed in JavaScript. Because we're making the concept the input, which is coming from the task item, which scroll up here is the initial query element, and we're looking for the task ID, the data task with the ID of the given task ID, so that we're toggling the correct task. And then you can read through more of that if you'd like. I can do a more specific video on JavaScript, but it's probably going to be a bit because I'm rusty with it myself. Down here for saving a task, you'll see that again, we're taking the input, description, we're trimming it. If it's nothing, then we're saying it's nothing. Otherwise, we're making a put request to to-dos. So that doesn't sound right. We're going to say API to-dos. Since since we're saving the task, we want to. I'm just going to say API to do, and we'll stick a put there. Cancel editing just simply reloads the page, so it's a cheap hack. You cancel editing, it reloads the page goes back to default. Deleting a task is when we're going to make a call to API / to-dos, but it's going to be a delete request rather than a put or a going to be a delete request rather than a put or a post. And it's not so much that I am talented. It's just that I've done this a lot, and honestly, it's the persistence that keeps it. This is why I always say to keep your curiosity open, so that you're always questioning everything. If you see that something is like a delete request and you don't understand that, then my whole keep your curiosity open philosophy is dive down that rabbit hole. Find out what a delete request is. What does that mean? What does that provide? Why can I have the same number of mappings, all ambiguous to the same thing, but different in the sense that one is a get, one is a put, one is a this? What is the difference between those? That's kind of my philosophy behind keeping your curiosity open. And when I say keep your skills sharp, I mean persistence. I've been doing this for roughly 20 years or a little over 20 years. I got into Java curiosity in about 2002, and I got into more professional stuff around 2006, 2007-ish, when I started doing my own stuff for other people and started making a profit from some of my skills. But the reason I say keep your skills sharp is keep toying, keep being curious, keep going down that rabbit hole, finding out why, keep plugging away at random projects that um, that may seem useless or stupid or even just silly, but the idea is that you want to keep your skills as fresh as you can, and the best way to do that is to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself working. And much like anything, um, it just grows over time and over years of experience. So it's not so much that I'm just very talented, because I don't believe I am. Um, I just believe that I've done this repetitiously and repeatedly for so many years that I've got a good holistic idea of what needs to be done now at this point in time. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's not so much that I'm talented, it's that you'll get there yourself. Don't worry about it. Keep your curiosity open. Keep plugging away at random stupid projects. I'm gonna call it stupid, silly projects, because over the years I've written a lot of silly projects. I'll call them. I've written things like standalone calculators in Swing. I've written more fancy calculators in Java FX. I've gone and then transformed those calculators into web-based calculators using Spring Boot. I've built little phone games back in 2011 for the old flip phones, if you remember those. Like I built stupid little things that would just keep track of things that in my life, like when I was growing up, I never had the luxury or the financial support of being able to be like, that's a cool little piece of software. I could use that tool. I'm gonna go buy it. Um, I was always on the more unfortunate side of things. So I would be like, that's a cool little application or a cool little tool. I wish I had it. Let's write it. And I would research up a lot about it and I would just build it rather than trying to purchase it, because also it helped me learn more. And I've built little text-based video games, text-based games that I then more evolved into a 2D platformer, which I've then evolved to a 2D top-down, sort of like Zelda, uh, like the Land Before Time. I can't even remember now, but like the early Zelda games and like I built a lot of things over the years that were hobby projects. I've done a few professional projects. I've worked on a few professional teams. You can find a lot of random projects in my GitHub. I think I have like 30 or so that are open sourced. That I've got like over 100 that are in the private repo, but I've got like about 60, 30 or so that are public, and they range from a I think a clock that an alarm clock that pulled a YouTube video to play the audio, up to a tool that I used for a company called Newfold Digital, that was used to um, scrape website information. So it was something that you could just pass a URL into, and it would scrape the website for all sorts of documents, PDFs, and all sorts of things. There's a bunch of fun little projects that I've built, and again, it's not so much that I don't believe that I'm a very talented person. I just believe that I'm a very persistent person, and I sort of stick with it and continue to do things repetitively until I get it done, which is usually a great way to build up experience. Although a lot of people also nowadays don't like to dig into the question of why something works or how something works. They just get to the point that it works and go with it, which is why I have a big sort of sour taste in my mouth for people that do nothing but vibe coding. Um, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I did some vibe coding for this JavaScript, or if you want to call it vibe coding. I passed in like a paragraph and a half of a prompt to tell Junie, IntelliJ's Junie, to tell it in great detail what it is that I wanted this JavaScript to do. Um, and I used the planning feature in it, so it helped me build it with a plan rather than just write the code, so that I could answer questions to it and provide extra details. And I mean, honestly, my experience with Junie was probably the best experience I had with an AI, including I've used Claude, I've used GPT, but I found that Junie was probably my best experience. So hats off to JetBrains, good job. But yeah, so in today's video, we're going to go through and write these endpoints, these API to-dos. We're going to, or API to-do, yeah, API to-dos. We're going to write that endpoint today so that we can go ahead and make all these calls. We're making a post call to the root directory. We're making a patch to another one that does not that's not just to the root directory. We're making a put request to the root, tacking on the ID, and same thing with the delete method. Okay, so that's going to be cool. That's going to be fun. So let's get out of here, into controllers. Let's make a new Java class. We'll call this to-do API controller. Sure, we'll add that. But I put 2 L's. Oh my god. Learn to spell, Mike. Oh yeah, if you're ever wondering how I get this generated in every single file, it's just a live template that I have set up in IntelliJ, so that every time I create a file, it puts this little header at the top. I find it very helpful for every project that I work on to kind of tag myself in it. You can also do some other cool things in there as well, like you can have a copyright. My cat is like crying behind me, like it has a kill. No, I guess I don't want Lombok. I'm having Lombok in it. Screw it. We're gonna tag in here that we want required args constructor, so that I don't have to write in the specific logic or the specific constructor to pull in. Just Lombok does it for me. So in here I want a private final to do service, because I believe I have some logic in the service for creating, do I not? Okay, so I have a way to create a DTO from a string. That's perfect, because I will need that. I've got a way to delete an item by an ID. That's good. That's good. Can get an existing DTO by an ID. That's perfect. I can update the description. That's good as well. And I can mark the to-do item as completed. Okay, so I did I write these in the last one, or did I do that off camera? Okay, so we're gonna run through this because the only one I'm using right now is Getting All, which is for the main homepage to present the list. Um, but we also have a way here where we reach out to the repository to find one by an ID, and then we return that optional item and we map it. We map it to the DTO, which is which is this converting method down here, which simply makes a new DTO record. And then down here we have a delete method, which takes in the ID and then goes ahead and uses the repository to perform the delete action. Okay, so this is very helpful. I'm going to stick this over here so that I can see what my services are as I build out my controller. Okay, cat, you got to get off my lap, cat. Get up, get up. My cat's starting to sit on my lap and scratch himself and shake and shake and shake. He's kind of making me seasick. Ooh! Sorry about this, guys. It's just getting kind of warm now. When I woke up this morning, it was cold as hell and no heat on. Or, well, heat was on, but heat was low. You gotta love the winter, especially in Canada. It's like minus... Let me just check right now. I'm curious. Woo! Yeah, it's chilly. It is currently, and this is in Celsius, minus 14 feels like minus 20. So it is currently cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. And this is not the coldest that we get in Canada. All right, so where's my JavaScript class? So the first one that we're doing is going to be adding a new task, the fetching for putting a new task, or for adding a new task. So let's take this JavaScript and drag it down here. So adding a new task, API to-dos, that's this. It's a post request, and it contains a description. Just a description. So I'm going to go into my DTO, and I'm going to make a simple record. I don't even know what I'm going to call it. To-do description, I guess. I'm just going to call it a to-do description. Yeah, we're going to add it. No, I don't want it like this. I want it to be a record. Should have made it into a record. Yeah, it's good enough. I probably could have stuck that somewhere else, but whatever. That's good enough. So that's going to be a description. So in here, we know that it's going to be a post. And we know it's going right to the root directory. Oh yeah, this is something cool that I didn't know until I came across it by accident. So Spring 7 or Spring Boot 4 actually matters when you make a method public or private in post mapping. So all along, I've always written these as private just because I figured I don't want any other like external classes to be able to see or whatever. So I've always written my methods as surprisingly just private. And I did that for quite a few years. And then I found out when I was working on the Midnight Technician, plugging away at when I fully upgraded it to the GA version. No, I'm not muted. I shouldn't be muted. My thing is picking me up. Are you sure I'm muted, Key? Or you just lost volume? Because my thing is picking me up. My mics are going kind of crazy over here when I talk. There are some points where I did go a little quiet while I was typing here, but so yeah, here we're making a post request, or we're making the post controller, and we're looking to take in that that to-do description. Request body. Oh, because I didn't. Wow. To-do description, and this is going to be description. Um, I don't really need that. I just need the response. Yeah, get rid of that. Make that happy. There we go. All right. So this should allow us to create a DTO item. So this is going to go into the service, create a new DTO, and return that it's been done. Next one that we need to do. I guess we'll do this. There's a part of me that just obsesses over this, so let's return a to-do item DTO, and we'll go back here. We'll make this into a var DTO, and we'll add that in there and get rid of the build now that we're building something final. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, whoop. Okay, so no, I guess I can't do that. I can't send it with a message. Okay, yeah, never mind. So we're gonna pass that back as we go. That's going to be our posting of a new task. So next we're looking at toggle task completed. So, okay. All right, so this one here, we are picking in path. Yeah, okay. So next one down here is going to be a patch. So this one is a patch mapping. So this one does actually have something, so we'll have to do that, and then we'll go public, response to do, update to do. Cool. Kind of sort of knew what we were doing. LJ's or JetBrains IntelliSense is pretty smart most times. All right, so in here we are taking in a task ID. So we'll start out with our slash and then task ID. And then we have another slash for toggle. And then in here we are path variable. Task ID. Map that to this toggle, and then this is going to be a request param. Request param is of course completed, and the Boolean is completed. That is completed, yes. Copy paste so I don't get anything typoed wrong. All right, so this is now going to tell us that we want to mark this as this. So I technically don't even need the Boolean, but this is a toggle, so we're going to mark it as complete. And I probably should have another one that, or I should probably mark this. Okay. We're going to rename this to toggle completion. It's going to take in an ID, and I'm going to have it take in a Boolean. There we go. So that's going to pass in that, so it's going to update it. This is now going to take in this and completed. There we go. And we're going to have this actually return a Boolean. I want this to return. No, because that. Oh no, I want to reword that. That's fucking horrible. This should be hashed equals that, and then. Whoop, where did I go? What am I clicking on? Jesus Christ! Oh my god. Okay, go away. Returning false down here. Up here, we're returning that cache is not. I mean, we could just say fuck it and return true. I don't even care. Let's just do that. So I know what's going to work. Okay, so that's going to do this. This is this. And then now I'm just going to copy this and say if this and return this, else return not found. So there's nothing there to toggle. All right, cool. So that is toggling our task done. Next, we're going to come down and look through for our next fetch. Not there. The next fetch is for saving a task. So this one here is again going to be passing in just a description or an updated description, and then we're going to update the description. So now I'm actually going to copy paste this guy. So we're going to duplicate this. This is now going to become a put request or put mapping, and this is going to be update to do description. All right, and that's going to do the same thing, except it's going to update description, and it needs an ID. Okay, so we need an ID with that as well. So that's going to be another path variable. Is that a path variable? Yeah, it's a path variable. Task ID, okay, and then this is going to take in this and task ID. So there's that to that, and this is just updating. Probably should make that go with a task ID there. Okay. Oh, we're getting the curly brace. There we go. Okay, that's good there. That's gonna go to do slash task with the path of this and taking in a description. Okay, so that's taking in that into the description, posting it with here. Okay. Again, I don't know if I like this flow because I like to kind of know whether or not something happened. Okay, so we're going to make this into a Boolean so that we can sort of copy this uh, this flow that we got going here. So I'm going to surround this with brackets, get rid of that, go to the home, put an if, do this, whoops, there, and then else. Boom. Okay, so there's that. So there's our way to create a new one, update an existing one. Um, this is toggle. This is toggling completion. Okay, so that's going to toggle the task completion. Okay, so save task. What do we got next? Cancel it, and then we have delete. Okay, so now we need to delete a task. So this is again going to be coming down, and look at that, it knows what we want. So this is to do with a task, okay, with the path variable of ID by ID, go into here, delete the ID, boom, and we are golden. And this is going to return no content. Okay, I want to return okay because we deleted it. Right. All right, so that should wire up um our JavaScript should be all wired up. Our to-do service should be good. I just want to take another scope through and make sure I didn't miss anything. So I got delete. I've got save. Save is what? Updating? That's what's putting the put. So that's updating. Okay, so that's updating it. This is toggling. Well, this is just not making any requests whatsoever. That's just enabling. Okay, so that one's okay. Toggle the task completion. Make sure we got this right. Toggle question mark. Toggle this request params complete. There's a boolean. I'm gonna make that a boolean object. Okay. And initialize, you're not making any requests. Add a new one, you're making a post request to here. Okay, looks like everything is good. Looks like I'm not missing anything. So let's, um, just so you can see what it looks like now. This is where we left it off at the other day, and I added this styling, which looks pretty good. Again, I'm not going to run over the CSS because I don't understand CSS on a high level enough to explain it to other people. I can just sort of get by. So here you can see the tasks are drink coffee, the date it was created. Task is subscribe, date it was made. And again, we can edit, save, nothing happens. Cancel, reloads page. I can click delete. Are you sure you want to delete this? Boom, failed to delete because there's no endpoint. And again, we can write in a task, press enter, and it should work, or we can click the actual enter. It tells us not to leave a blank description. So we'll say like the video. I can't even type. And if you hit that again, it runs through, but there's no API in the background. So let's reload the project. Everything starts up, no problem. Jump back into our website. And theoretically, if we start yep, there we go. If we toggle this, it toggles the strike through. So now that is working as expected and things do save. So if we reload the page, it's pulling in fresh. This is no longer added. So now if we come up here and say like the stream, add the task, apparently nothing got added. So we'll have to take a look at that and see why we can't add. If we come in here and edit this and save, it failed to update task. Cool. So now everything's not working. This is the fun part of live. Let's go debug. Honestly, I like debugging. It's again part of that curiosity thing. All right. So, as I can clearly see from my console, oh, look at that. I do have some errors. Violations. What am I violating? When did I violate? Oh, was that? Let's clear this. Try to save. That failed. Nothing printed. Okay. When I click what's? So that's clearly not the issue. Okay. Fail to save. Okay, okay. Like the stream. That threw an error. Okay, so that's what's throwing a database error. Trying to add a new task. Insert into to-do items. Completed. Da, 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 da. It doesn't like the ID. Yeah, is it the ID it doesn't like? Should be generating the new ID off a sequence though. Okay, so where are we? To-do service when it's trying to save the item. Ah. But that's because I'm passing in a DTO. Aha. I need to make a new to-do task, not a new to-do item. This should not be a this should no, because that's converting it. This should be a new item. The item should be generating this ID. Oh, and I can't do that while this is on. Okay, so let's close out of this. Let me refresh this. Oh, I forget what my password is. Don't ask me that. Change it. Perfect password. So if I open these up, I've got 2 tasks. Okay, so now it's failing to update the task because it's turned off. Right. But, it might be the fact that I added these in manually, and the sequence is not appreciative of the fact that maybe that might be it. So I technically hard entered those first 2, and I kind of bypassed everything. So let's rerun this. Make sure we're connected. That time it didn't fly, it didn't strike it through. Why is that? It's not adding a strike through. Oh, it's probably because those two don't exist anymore. Yeah, so let's reload the page. There's no active tasks. So we're going to say, like the stream. That got added. Cool. Drink coffee. That got added. See, now it works. It was just the fact that I hard entered those. Subscribe, so make sure you guys are liking the video, drinking coffee, and subscribe. And now we've got some stuff in our database. And as you saw, we can now add to-dos. As I've added these by both the first one by clicking the button and the other ones by pressing enter. So now we have a fancy little to-do list that we can just keep adding things into forever. Or if we want to delete something, are you sure you want to delete this task? Are you really sure? Yeah, I'm sure. And now it's gone. Whoa! That's cool as shit. But now what if I wanted to change this to drink coffee daily? It got updated, guys. Look at that. All right. So, this is where we're at. This is what's real. We now have a to-do list that we can add items to, remove items from, check them off that they have been completed or not. We can edit these. This is exciting as hell. And the next thing that we're going to be doing, or need to do, I suppose, is we need a way to track these. Because as of right now, anybody can just go to our local host and throw in tasks. Like, that's not fair. I don't want someone to throw in tasks on my list. You got your own list. So, next mission is our next mission is going to be a small coffee break so I can refill my cup. And then we are going to dive into, I believe we're going to do, you know what? I honestly don't have anything planned right now for this. This got wrapped up faster than I expected. Um, 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 I guess, I guess the next task would be introducing a way for us to log in with a like a basic Spring Security login. Uh, well, I'm gonna ask Junie to do this while I go off and get some coffee. So let's go back to a small little video of me. And I'm gonna write up a little prompt here for Junie to do something fancy that I want. So I'll just be quiet here for a second. What else do I want to tell you to do here? I don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask it to build a pretty basic Spring Boot 7, Spring 7, Spring Boot 4 uh, login register page. So we're gonna see if it can plan that out for me, do it up here while I go and top up my coffee cup. So I will be back in just a moment, and we will check in and see how Junie's doing. You need some coffee? I advise you to grab it now, and I will be back in about a minute. Let's test. Okay, cool. You can hear me again. All right, I am back. I hope you are as well. Junie is still cooking away here. I haven't seen it ask me any questions yet, but we are going to. It's most likely going to ask me some questions, probably about the session and how I want to handle how I want to handle. So I probably should have been a little more specific to it, telling it that we're using. Yeah, it just noticed that we're using TimeLeaf and JPA H2. Okay, so it noticed all that. Um, I probably should have been more specific about it, telling it that I'm not interested at this moment in JWT, nor am I for stateless handling. I want this all to be done through. I probably could have been more specific to it, but yeah, here's the questions. Exactly what I thought. All right, so yeah, they are, but I was going to do that myself. Sorry about this. We're just going to be answering a few of Junie's questions here. So, what should my users log in with? Username only or allow email as a login identifier too? I'm going to say username. Or no, you know what? Email. We'll make it log in with an email. Third one, what are we doing here? Registration, minimum password length. Really? I just want to go with industry standards. Uh, yeah. Yes, the username to be need to be unique. Max of no, there's 6. No max. Says otherwise. Okay. 4. What else? The other question. After a successful login, should we redirect them to the current route? After logo. After login, go to the root, and after log out, also go to the root. 5. Reuse existing the notepad theme from here. Blah, 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 blah. Do you want a small header on the yes. Yes, I would like a header added to the top with the midnight list on the left, linking to root, and then a profile button next to it when logged in to go to list for user. Then on the left, login button, less login button. If login Yeah, I knew I should have been more specific about this. This is why I like giving like paragraph and a half long fucking descriptions to this. Do you want registered linked to the login page and vice versa? Yes? Why not? 7. Everything is same origin. You know what? Let's add the CSRF. Let's go with the best. Um, 8. Is there any desire for a remember me? No. I don't want people's sessions. I'm going to be eventually switching it to JWT. And then if you're okay with the defaults, I'll proceed with I want to tell this some other stuff here too, I think. The first registered user. No, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do this. We're just going to keep it like this. I was going to get a little more, try to tell it while I was doing this to do it a little more advanced, but screw it. We're going to keep it basic and then we'll do advanced level ups as we go. But for now, this should be going, this should, basically little conversation there that I had was I was giving it the okay that I want all of these to-do lists are going to be meant to be per user. I'm telling it that I want the user, when they register, to be able to provide a username, a password, an email address, and an optional option of the Discord ID. Because in the future, we're going to make this so that we can view our lists in a Discord message. So we can just be like slash to-dos, and it's going to grab your list of to-dos in an embed message. And it'll be kind of cool. And then we might touch base on how we can do things like single sign-on, and then we'll add to our login. We'll make it a little more advanced. We'll make it use JWT so that it's stateless, and it's, in my opinion, better. As well as we'll add in a way that you can just click a button and log in with Discord and have it sync up with your connected account. We'll also make a way to register from Discord as well, and yada yada, but that'll kind of come. Right now, I just want this to now have a simple login page so that there's going to be kind of a blank localhost home area. I might just add a home page saying something silly like home, and then have something just like welcome to the midnight list. And just, I don't know, throw an example image of like what things look like. Maybe take a picture of this, throw it on the homepage. But I want it to then be able to be slash profile, provide your username or your user profile ID, and have it populate a list of your to-do lists or your list. Looking to keep it simple, looking to keep it straightforward, and I'm interested to see what Junie will do for this. For those of you that are wondering, this is sort of a low-level vibe code. I know most people can kind of to me, in my generation, vibe coding to me was throwing on a music playlist, just listening to some good music and just go into it. Um, but it seems like the new age definition of vibe coding is like having a physical conversation with your. I don't know. I'm still confused by it. Does it mean just using AI to do things, or does it mean the physical action of talking to your AI and be like, "Yo, I want this done. Do this. Do this." Because like I don't know. I like using AI personally for generating things like JavaScript and CSS that I don't fully understand. Because I'm just, it's not that I don't fully understand it, it's that not as, I don't use it as frequent. So I don't have as much experience with JavaScript anymore. And with like, I really need, see, I like using the AI because that also then I can review the code that it wrote, and it gives me a kind of a refresher, and I can be like, okay, yeah, kind of just like I'm reviewing an intern or like a junior developer after I get like the code out um from AI. I like to read through it and be like, okay, this is horseshit, this is wrong, this is not the way to do it, or this is cool, this is great, I can build from it. But never do I ever just use raw AI code. Never use raw AI code. Always review it first and make sure that it looks right. For example, this guy is now writing me a user account. So this one here is generating some unique identifiers, apparently. Um, but it's setting it up for an ID, it's setting up for a username, email, it's saving the password hash, and it's got the optional Discord ID that I wanted. And it's starting with, it's even keeping track of when it was created and when it was updated. And you'll see here that it even added some pre-persistent and some pre-update methods. So pre-persist is before this gets persisted into the database, it's going to run these actions. So it's going to take this dot created and it's going to assign that to this right here. So it's going to take an instance of now from the local time and date, or local date time, sorry, and it's going to then set the created to that and the updated to be that of the created. So once we go to initially persist this data, before it gets persisted, it's going to run this task. And this one here is basically before we ever update the record, in the database, this is going to get called, this pre-update method, which is going to then change the updated time. So that's pretty cool. I like that it did that with such thoroughness. I'm actually impressed. Good job. Good job, Junie. Good job. What else has it done? Touch the build. What do we do in the build? Added in Spring Boot. What? Okay, so we added in Spring Boot starter security, and we added in the security 6 for time leaf. Perfect. That's going to be great for our header. User account repository. Oh, nice. It even made a couple of things. Find by email, find by this. I'm okay with that. Exists by. Okay. Okay. Junie's doing a pretty good job so far. Doing a pretty good job. Nothing like micromanaging your AI. To do item. What did you change in here? So, okay. Okay. So this is using a many-to-one mapping, which basically means um, many to-do lists or to-do list items. Many of these items can belong to one entity or to one thing. In our case, this one user account can have many to-do items that are in their to-do list. So that kind of makes sense. And for those of you that don't know SQL very well, JPA does take away some of the difficulties in the learnings. However, I do recommend that you do deep dive into some of the curiosity bits here. Like I just gave kind of a brief description of what many to one is. I highly recommend you do kind of a deep dive into it. If you'd like, let me know, and I will make a video on the different types of mappings: the many to one, the one to one, the one to many, the many to many, and all of the other things in between. There are many different types of mappings, and these are all to do with relational databases and how they communicate, how they build, uh, and how they're handled. So, if you would like to have a video in the future about me explaining some of the different bits about how um, Spring and Spring Boot make the communications to databases simpler, um, I would be all for doing up a video that helps you understand a little deeper. But in the meantime, I do highly recommend checking out the different mappings, because there are quite a few of these bad boys. Um, this one here is just, again, you can hold Control and click on any of those, and it will bring you to the definition, or like where it's declared, and you can read through the documentation on it. Um, and we're telling this that we're going to be doing a lazy fetching. I believe the lazy fetch is post. I can't fully remember, but yeah, there's eager, and there's lazy. So I believe eager is fetching it sort of upfront and fast. What do we got here? Strategy is required of the persistence provider runtime. Lazy strategy is a hint to the persistence provider. Okay. Okay. Strategy specified. Okay. Cool. So the lazy strategy hints to the persistence provider rather than the eager one, which is a strategy required on the persistence provider runtime. And the data must be eagerly fetched if you have it set to eager. I like how the definition of eager is that it's going to fetch it eagerly. Way to be descriptive of eager. And then lazy, it says strategy is a hint. Lazy strategy is a way to hint to the persistence provider runtime that data should be fetched lazily when it's first accessed. So that basically means that it's going to wait until you request it to get it versus getting it at load time. If I read that right, eager will fetch it at the beginning. Lazy will wait until it's needed and then get it then. Basically, if I understood that right. All right. So where are we at here? What did we add? We added. Oh, validation. That's usually good to add. All right. So to do, what do we do in here? So in here, it looks like we just added a way to be able to filter things and find all by this, ignore. Okay. This is just adding in some extra ways, being proactive about the fact that we're going to be getting these based off of a user ID. Um, okay. Okay. I'm happy with that. These are all just repository methods that it's calling or even creating. I'm not sure. Yeah, I created a couple of these. Um, But again, it's just more or less to get them. In this case, it wants to get them ordered by the date they were created with for a given user. Down here, it's looking for just getting it by a given user, getting it by a given user, yada yada, and so forth. Um, it also added this user service for require the current user, which I'm assuming is just getting user account. Yes, it's just grabbing a user account. Registration for the user service. The username needs to be at least 3 characters long with a maximum of 50. Okay, I'm happy with that. Email can't be blank. And the password is a minimum of 6 with a maximum of 200 characters. That should be able to let people get a pretty damn secure password. And then we're probably providing this optional Discord ID that will tie in later. So when we register the account, we're checking to see if the user exists by username or email, and if they do, we're just going to throw an illegal exception. Other than that, we're going to come down here and we are going to create this user. I do this personal format where I call it var and then the space because that's 4 characters. And then I use the tab or space key because that's also generally convention 4 spaces. So I use this to line up whenever I create an object like this so that I can see the data easier. It's nothing that's like required by conventions. This is just a personal convention that I happen to have seen a YouTuber do 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought it was clever, and it helped me visually see this in a cleaner aspect of seeing what I'm assigning before I go back to my routine spacing. So this is just a convention that I personally follow. It's not something that you guys like need to do with Java. It's just, in my opinion, cleaner. So here we're building the user account. We're assigning the username. We're putting the email in lowercase, and we are encoding the password. Um, I really hope it's using bcrypt. J specified nully spring password encoder string encoder. I really hope it's okay. So we're gonna check out and see what. Oh, I should have specified that. I feel like I really should. I feel like I dropped the ball with that one. This should have been. Don't like that password encoder. This should be a bcrypt. Why not just call that? Can't wire that in? Oh, no, it's because I didn't have any provider for okay, so really should have just wait for this guy to be done. Um, where am I sticking this configuration at? Probably in here, I suppose. Oh, the password encoder is a bcrypt. Okay, okay. Cool. Okay, I'm okay with that then. Probably should have read that first. Look for the bean first. Um, so this is our security filter or our chain. So this is where we allow certain things and disallow other things. So I'm going to come in here just so that again, it's cleaner in my opinion to read this. So just bear with me while I line this up and clean some things. Don't do that to me. Form login. Okay. All right. So we're gonna lambda this and lambda that. All right. So we are allowing everything to go to all of these links. So the CSS, the JavaScript, images, fave icon, all of the website looking stuff, resources is going to be okay. Login page, the register page, and the H2 console are also permitted. Um, usually I would want my H2 console to be like kind of a role based, but we also did not tell this to add any fancy roles, which other than just user. Um, we are also going to allow everything to the home root that is a get. So this just means that if we had something at the home root that was like post or put or whatever, nobody would be allowed to make those specific method requests. This one is only accepting the get request for a home page. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's see what else. Let's see what else this has been cooking with. To-do list HTML. What did you change up here? Okay, so really? Oh, okay. No, that's just that. Okay, okay. What did you do for the site header? What did you do for the site header? Come on. Oh, it's not even made yet. Cool. To do register login. Yeah, template. The header was never made yet. Okay. I'm curious to see what this cooks with. What this does. Okay, let's rerun the project build here and see what happens. Okay, so this says that it completed it. So let's rerun our app and see what it looks like. Okay, and if we refresh, nothing's working. Probably because we didn't log in. Oh, no, so when we try to go to the login, it throws an error. Template might not exist. Oh, because it never built the header. Well, good job, you forgot the header. I'm assuming it's the header. Oh no, template, login template. Login line 13. Yeah, the site header doesn't exist. Yeah, way to go. Way to forget the header. Can I stop this? You forgot to add the page header. Good fight. So I don't know if it's going to add a fragment folder or not. I probably should have been more specific about that. But it needs to, this is why I don't like using AI a lot of the time. Um, yeah, header. Better get it right this time, AI. Yeah, it doesn't even got the freaking endpoints proper. So this one here, when it goes to my list, should be going to another controller that we're going to have to add in. 'Cause this is the old one for getting all of the to-do lists. And now we're looking to update it so that we're getting just the individual persons thing. So we're going to need to edit the to-do controller to add in another spot for this, which is going to need to be um, I don't even know what to call it. My list. I guess I'll call it my lists. No. Yeah, guess I'm gonna call it my list. I don't care. Ah. Okay, so let's rerun this. That's horrible. That is horrible. What the hell is that? Seriously, you goofed that up? Let's try this. Register. Register looked like it worked. Login needs to be my email address. Don't even remember what I put there. Cool. Don't even know what I put in there for a username and password. That is fantastic. The header is absolutely is not right. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get it to fix because again, my HTML is not exactly the best. My CSS is horrible. My JavaScript is like junior at best. Um, so I'm just gonna get AI to see if it can fix this because like that's disgusting. That header is not even a header; it's a freaking sidebar, if anything. Like that's ugly. I would have been better off copying and pasting my Midnight Technician header into here. That's the auth controller. This is the login flow. Yeah, da, da, da. So I need a to-do controller. So I need to make a new get mapping. Or technically speaking, this one here can just be modified. Uh, did I call that my lists? What did I call that? My lists. Copy that. Paste it there just to make sure. Getter is going to do this. Okay. And is the request or is it the... Oh, I forget what that is now. Take a look at my Midnight Technician right quick. So I just can't remember off the top of my head. And I don't have it in any of these. Email, users. Shoot, where did I? Oh, this isn't the customer thing. Okay, I need to go on the website. That's why. Hop into the website, source, main, Java, controllers. Pick a controller. Wait, use it in there? No. Where in the heck am I using this? Okay, somewhere in here I have to be taking in. There it is. HTTP servlet request. Couldn't remember what the name of that was. All right. So now we're going to take in a servlet request in here. There we go. Now, the reason I wanted to do this was that this way I can then go into the request and I can get the remote user, which I believe is the username or the email. Find that out in a minute. Okay, cool. So once I go to my lists, and I'm just going to have it print out the remote user and give me all the lists right now, and then I'll clean that code up later. But for now, I just want to make sure that I want to make sure Junie finishes her task. There we go. All right, so I want to make sure that, let's refresh this first and see what this web page looks like. There, much better, much better. Cool. That is much better. Now I just need to make sure I do this properly because I don't even know what password that was I gave. So let me pop into my database, which I can't do while the server's on. So let me turn that off, come into here, refresh this. Users, come in here and delete myself. Rerun this. Username, Glabe, email. We'll go with this one. Password. It's just going to be Glabe. Register. So now email, this, and password is Glabe. Love it. Why is my password wrong? Select this from user where this is this. Yeah. So my password is wrong? Okay, let me turn this off again. Reconnect to my database. Check out this users table again. Oh, wow. Okay, so it didn't even register? Oh, yeah, right. It's off. Shit. Okay. Glabe. Register. Registration successful. Cool. So one tells me the registration was successful. The other tells me that it was failed, that doesn't exist. And if I stop this and try to load my users, I do see that I do have my user here. And if I were to crunch this off to the side, take a look at this, go into a tree view because I like it better, pop this down here. My password is in fact getting decrypted. My email address is this, like, what is... Okay, so when I click login and we go to our auth controller to log in, register, get mapping and post mapping, yeah. So where the fuck is my login flow? Did you seriously forget the login flow? Okay, I think that Junie needs to get fired. All right, Junie. All right, now I'm just asking. I'm just telling Junie that there is an error with logging in, um, and that it did something wrong with its flow. User service. Can I pick it up before it does? So I do have Like I've got the registration part down. The registration looks fine. It's just the auth flow, the login does like I'm questioning if the login flow hop into here. Because like the log out form login page is this, successful should be this, and the user's parameters are the email and password. Um, what am I missing? Or what did Junie miss? My auth controller just has a login page and a register page. Those are the pages. Then it has this register system, but it doesn't actually have a login flow. If I was to, that's Rune Hero, my bad. If I was to pop open the Midnight Technician, and if I was to pop into my auth controller here, I've actually got a login flow. This takes me to my login page, and this is my login flow. So when someone tries to perform a login request, it goes through all of the states and it grabs the IP from the remote address. It checks to see if it's if it's on a blocked list or not. Yada yada yada. But basically, I've got a login flow. In here, I've got a registration flow. So if Junie can't figure this out or do it, I'm just gonna have to roll up the sleeves and go into it. So okay. Service. What do you got in global model attributes? This is the custom user details service where it should be essentially loading the user by email. Repository find by email. And then it should be mapping it to a user and giving them a role, like a user role. But now I don't, again, I just don't think it built a login flow. The only login I got is up here, the page. Let's see if it picks it up. Come on. Hey, you tell me it's done. Let's see and find out. I don't believe you. Now, is that because I don't have a homepage? Okay. Now I need just a straight up blank homepage there. Um, my dear friend. Why did that throw an error? I thought I had a homepage that just simply said, like, I thought I had a homepage that just told me to log in. Like, let's reload this. Yeah. Oh no, this takes me to the login. Okay, so yeah, I just don't have a homepage. Okay. That where it goes? Is that what I named it? Or it named it? Images? Yeah, images. Alright, now let's go find an image. Open up it. Okay. So I'm gonna go with this guy. There we go. Um, yeah, this is just kind of flying through some basic stuff. So we're gonna make a new web page or a new home page. That's what I asked it to do. And the home page is just gonna simply, or should be, something that simply welcomes the person to the to-do list service that we got. I'm gonna slap an image in the center, and then beneath it, we'll throw in a registration form. That's the idea of the home page right now. Um, it's what I had told it to do anyway. Um, so let's see what it does and what it finds. So it added a home controller so that we can take care of the home page, apparently. Uh, so it's gonna, by the looks of it, it's gonna cook and add in a registration form for this. See if it picks up that I got an image, a PNG in there. Um, we'll stick that in the on the web page. That's just the thumbnail that I used for this video. Um, but we're gonna see if Junie can pick it up and throw it in there. If not, we'll tell it where it's at. Okay, so now it created a home page for us. Take a look and see what that is. So we got our header. We've got a welcome to a simple tool. This hero section is going to be where we stick the image, which apparently it didn't do for me. Didn't find it. So we're going to go ahead and tell it we're using that image. Then it goes here and it has a button if you're not authorized. Oh, sorry, if you are authorized, there's a, what? If you are authorized, oh, sorry, there's the exclamation. If you're not authorized, it provides this option to create an account. If you are, then it simply tells you, welcome back and hello, take a look at your lists, and it provides you a link. So let's, I'm actually kind of curious to see this. So let's rerun this. I want to go to the regular host. There we go. So here it is. I'm not logged in. This here is a welcome to the midnight list, a simple and elegant to-do list to keep your nights organized. Little image, and then because we're not logged in, we have a create option down here. If I click log in, and if I actually log in, this new page, interesting that there's a /n. I don't know where that came from. Um, I, oh, that's where it came from. Look at that. That was weird. Okay, go away, Junie. You're done for the day, Junie. Screwed up too many times. So pop back into my list. That cleans up that page. So now we're here, and I can go to the page of my list, which then brings me to here, which has nothing stored. So now I should be able to come into here, say drink coffee, add a task. There's my new task. Like the stream, subscribe, make sure we get some things checked off our list. And there it is. Now we've got a very simple to-do list. We've got a home page where people kind of land on. You can then make an account and start building a list. That is perfect. So now the only thing really left to do is criticize the work that Junie did. And let's pop into the authorization controller and run through the code that it wrote. So in here, we have our login page and our register page. These could probably be put into the home controller because they're just the web pages. They're not actually, uh, but let's, for the sake of this, let's take these out of here and we're going to stick these into our home controller. Just to keep that together, our authorization is going to keep track of just our registering. So this is where our user would come to register. We would be taking in the model attribute of the form, which is our registration form down here, which consists. And then again, this could probably just be a record. I don't know why it decided to go this way with it. Where exactly are we using this? Because I don't exactly like it. Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm happy with that, but I don't like the data. I don't like the at data. Um, the reason I don't like it is because it's good for Lombok, yes, but you have to think about everything that it builds with it. Only thing I want out of the box is getters and setters. So I'm fine with the two annotations for that. If I used the data annotation, it provides me the getter and the setter, but it also provides me a two hash, a two string, or sorry, a hash code, a two string, an equals, and it provides me a bunch of extra stuff that I don't necessarily want. So I'm just trying to keep this minimalistic, and the only things I want are getters and setters. So that's fine with here. I mean, realistically, I would probably stick this into somewhere else. But again, the fact that it's only ever used in the auth controller. Oh, and the home controller uses it too. Um, yeah, maybe I will extract this to its own. So let's go into here and let's go to refactor. And I'm going to, I want to extract superclass registration form. Extract superclass, rename original. No. But you know what? That refactor's not as easy as I thought. So we're just gonna copy registration. We're gonna go into model. I'm gonna add this into model just because it's not technically a it's kind of a DTO. It's a data object. New Java class. I'm gonna call it this. I am going to drop you over here, copy these. Did I not? Oh, that's what I did. Whoops. I meant to copy that. What? Go away. Hmm. Just to extract that out, I just feel better about it. All right, so this is going to take the registration form as as kind of the model request. And then we're also having some bindings and a model at the end. So we're going to go through first and verify that the password is not null, and that it is at least 6 characters long. Otherwise, we are going to reject this field, the password field, because it is weak. Um, and then we're going to tell the person that the password must be at least 6 characters. Sorry about that. Likewise, we're going to do the same thing for the username. If the username is only 3 characters long or less than 3 characters, we're going to come back and reject the username by telling it that it's too short. And then we're going to simply say, hey, your username must be at least 3 characters long. And of course, if the binding has any errors, meaning anything was rejected, then we're going to take them back to the registration page. Otherwise, we're going to assume everything is all right, hunky-dory, and we're going to proceed to try to register a new user through the registration. We're going to take the form and give it the username, the email, the password, and the Discord ID that is optional. And of course, if anything goes sideways, like an illegal argument, we are going to simply add the error to the model, and then we're going to stick them back at the registration page. And if everything went well, then we're going to redirect them back to the login page with the parameter that it is a newly registered user. That is where we get the little message from that says, "Oh, you're a new user." A little green text. Because if we were to pop into the login flow, there is a section for error and there's a section for registered. So this is where we then stick the successful text saying registration successful and offer them the option to log in. Cool. Apparently it didn't like grammar. Um, and then, of course, we also have the create button if you don't. So if there's an error, it's going to say that there was a red text invalid email password. Otherwise, it's going to say successfully that you've registered and then ask you to log in. So next we've got the global, what looks like global model attributes. I've actually not used this style before myself. Get the user, but to each their own. Let's see what it did. This is not being used. Where are you being used? This is a model attribute for the current user. When is that being used? That's you. Okay, so that's just for passing through the... Okay, yeah, we're just using that in passing it through. Okay, that's it's not bad. We're just passing around the current user. So next, the home controller we looked at just contains all the pages. Um, so the other one is our to-do API that we got here that I need to apparently mark this as null marked and null marked. There we go. Make that satisfied. Um, that's just something that came out with Spring Boot 4 or Spring 7. It has J-specified null abilities and null management. So we can now just mark this as null marked, and it is happy. Into our to-do controller, I theoretically should be marking this as the same thing, but this is, of course, my list and presents us the options of our personal lists. The user account model that we made, this is what stores the user into our database. Again, this keeps track of a unique ID. The username, which is capped at a 50 character length. We have an email, which is capped at 120 character, and a password, which is also capped at 120 characters. Then we have the optional of the Discord ID, which we will get to in a future video, where we link them together. Link Discord to our list next. And then, of course, our created and updated. Down here, we have this pre-persist. So what this does is before an object is created, so before we actually persist this object and stick it into a database, it is going to do something. So in our case, we're telling this that pre-persistence, we want to set up the created at to that of right now. And then we're also going to say updated is also right now. So a fresh thing is going to update both of those. And then we have a pre-update annotation here, which basically means before we update the record in our repositories, something is going to happen to this model. In our case, we are going to tell it that the updated time should now be that of right now, so that way we keep track of uh, an easy way to keep track of or to keep tracking our update times. Um, Next on here, it added a user repository, which again is just a matter of different ways to find the user. We've got a custom user details service here, and theoretically we shouldn't really get anything null here by default. So I'm gonna say null marked. I'm gonna sanitize this by just putting it all to lowercase. There's other things we can do in this and to validate an email input. We're not going to right now. There's all sorts of fancy things that we could do with this, but for now, I just want to have the normalized text that we can pass in to see if we can find a user and bring them back. Security config, this is our security chain. So this is our filter, or one of our filters. So up here at the top, we're creating a bean for our password encoder, which is the bcrypt, so that our passwords are secure. And then down here, we step into a filter where we are telling the HTTP security that any authorized HTTP requests are going to require here. So we're telling it that if anything matches any of these domains, so localhost.com or localhost or dev.theglabe.dev slash CSS, JS, images, those are all of our resources. These should be able to be gotten without any sort of issue. Our login page and our register page are also pages that should be able to be accessed. This one, I don't like having that in there, so I'm actually going to take that out because that is going to be one that's going to require some sort of authorization to get into. Because I don't want people to just freely, willy-nilly get into that. So next thing we're going to check here is we're going to check the next requesting. We want to make sure that this request matches with a type beginning. So instead of just saying everybody can go here to the home page, we want to specify that only get methods are okay at the home page, which theoretically these should also fall under that category, because we're not making any sort of like, I'm actually going to get rid of that, and we're going to come down here. I'm going to add these in here, so that anybody that makes a get request to our resources or our homepage are going to be allowed. Anyone going to the login or register is also allowed, but I believe we also have a post method that goes there as well. So there's a difference between that. And I could secure this more by saying, I want this to only suggest this and only take this, but at this point, that's kind of going above and beyond. So after we've secured some endpoints, we're now coming down to say a form login. So now we're telling it that we want to use Spring Boot's or Spring's built-in login page or login handler. And we're going to set the login page to that of login and allow, which is also up here, we're going to allow everybody to go to that login page. The successful page, so what this means here is after somebody logs in, if the login flow was successful, where are we looking to send this person? In my case, I'm sending them back to the home page, but we're going to change that to my list so that when somebody logs in, they're going to go straight to their lists. And the username and password that is required is that of an email address and a password. So this is just the variable that we're looking for, which in our case is email. I believe it is what we named it in our actual file. So next we also have the logout. The logout session is going to be taking you through the logout, which is again in our, I believe in our auth, or maybe it's just, no, it's not. That's our register. So logout is the one that's provided by Spring for getting you to log out, and then it's a success URL. So what the difference between here is the logout URL is the path or the endpoint that needs to be called in order to handle the process. After that's been called and it's been a successful, then is when we're telling them, okay, I want to send you back to the home page or send you to like whatever page. It could be login. It doesn't really matter, but this is just a way to say, this is where we're processing it. This is the endpoint that we're going to process the login or the logout. And this is the URL we're going to land on once we're done. Now down here, this also says that we can go to an H2 console. So if we were to come up to here and go /H2 console, we're going to get an error for now. I think it's because I think it might be because I took it out up here. But honestly, I don't even want the H2 console personally. But I wanted to leave it in for other people. I'm going to take this. Okay. So I'm also going to do request match or this. I don't want to say permit all. I want to say as role admin, but I don't have an admin right now, so I'm just going to say user for the sake of insecurity. Now let me refresh this. So we log in, we were now at my lists like we expected. Oh, come on. And this is going to go to H2 console, get rid of that first slash. And still white page error, cool. Probably got some settings in my application that I disabled. Or it's not picking this up. Cannot resolve configuration. Did this change with Spring 4? Or Spring Boot 4, did that change? Huh. Um, I'm curious if that changed now. I don't know. Maybe that's why it's not, um, Spring. Does H2 even exist anymore? Hmm. I think Spring Boot may have gotten rid of the console. Like, what would that be under now? Spring. Hmm. Interesting. Gonna have to see what that, let's see what this did. So I got the H2, yeah, but why am I not? Now I'm just super curious. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where is my? Yeah, that's not telling me about my H2 console enabled. Yeah, like it's. This can't be for Spring 4 because like I have that Spring H2 console path, H2 console enabled. Like I got both of those. I should be able to go to this JDBC. Uh, hmm. Something must have changed. Do I need that? I didn't think that that made a difference. Jesus Christ, go away. Still coming up with a white page error. Um, hmm. Interesting that I can't get there. What changed? And I feel like it might be something in the property. Like I feel like it's something in the properties because this is like underlined now, and it cannot resolve it, but it's not telling me what's up. Now, um, when I did this before, and I came across some other when I was setting up Spring Data Mongo and stuff, I've noticed that the mappings have changed a bit. Um, So now I'm curious towards if this is a. I'm getting a 404 not found error for. Oh no, this is this isn't. This application has no explicit mapping for error. So I'm falling back to here. But H2 console, I don't know. So the H2 console just gives you sort of a way to view the database. And I was trying to see if I could figure it out here because not everybody has IntelliJ Ultimate like I do, where I can just come into here and I can view all of my everything through the database view and just bringing it up through. Like so, I wanted to. I'll pick at that later and get that working. But for now, everything is working on our to-do list. We have a fancy little page that we have to um, keep track of all of our tasks. Now, tomorrow we're going to do another video about this. I'm going to wrap this one up now because there's not really much else that we can dive into at this point. But uh, tomorrow we will go live again and we will continue on with our to-do list. I will add in we're going to add in a Discord bot now that we've got some basic login. Maybe we'll add in a Discord bot so that we can connect ourselves to our we'll connect ourselves to our list so that that way, for an example, you'll be able to do a Discord command /link. Link will take your Discord ID. It'll pop up a little form to get you to punch in your username and password. And then from there, I'll have it sync up and connect you with if your passwords, if your username and password is right, or email and password is right, we'll have it connect your Discord account. And then we'll make a command where you can do my list and you'll get an embed message with your to-do lists on it, as well as we will make it so that you can do like at like /task or /to-do, and you can add a new to-do and make it make it something easy there. And then maybe we'll make some buttons on that embed message so that we can complete a selected task. So if you're interested in diving in a little deeper, getting in a little bit, getting your feet wet a little more, we'll go from ankle deep to knee deep, maybe waist deep into some architecture and design when we build out a Discord bot tomorrow. So make sure that you've got that notification bell turned on. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a live session. And we will reconvene tomorrow morning where we will deep dive into adding the Discord bot. So, as always, guys, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and your coffee cup full.